Hello, how are you doing? It's your boy Dr. Will, and I'm here with another episode of the Dr. Will Show. I am here with Nadia Jaber. Now, she came on my radar when I was just searching through some TED Talks, and I saw her talking about the reimagining of the PhD. And I was like, this is real cool. I need to talk to her because a lot of folks out there like myself, you go to school, you get your doctorate, and it's like, well, what's next? And so, here we are with Nadia. So, Nadia, how are you doing?
Doing great. How are you?
I am doing quite well. Thanks for asking. Um, Awkward introduction, I know, but for those of you, for those individuals who, they're watching, they're saying, well, okay, she's cool, but I don't know who Nadia Jaber is. Would you please introduce yourself? Kind of tell them about your background.
Sure. I'm a graduate student. I'm at Stony Brook University, which is on Long Island in New York. I'm in my sixth year, so I'm just about at the end of my PhD, and I'm studying cellular biology. And I've always loved science. It was kind of a no-brainer to go to graduate school. But during the early years of my schooling, I kind of realized that I didn't really fit in academia, and I didn't really know what that meant. So I kind of went on a long process to try to figure out where I was supposed to be and how I was going to get there. And this is how all of this career development came up, ending in the TEDx talk that I gave at Stony Brook in November.
Cool, cool. So, um, let's get right into it. You formed the PhD career ladder. Um, Sort of, what is that program, and um, what I know you kind of sprinkled mentioned it a little bit about the TED Talk, but what was the genesis of you uh, moving forward to say I need to create something because of my experiences of what I've seen with doctor people in their doctoral programs.
Yeah, so it started really for my own self and me trying to figure out what I'm going to do with my PhD, knowing that I don't want to be in academia. Once I realized that there were other options for me, that was exciting. But then I was like, okay, well, there's so many options. This is so overwhelming. What do I do? So I kind of figured out on my own, just basically using a lot of internet resources and as many people as I could talk to, and I figured it out step by step. And once I got to where I was, I realized that um, it was really great. It was really like I had such a huge boost in confidence to know that this work that I was doing, that all of these years that I was spending getting my PhD weren't in vain, and that it was going to bring me to somewhere that I wanted to go. And I knew that there were so many other students, almost everyone that I talked to, my classmates, were feeling the same way. They felt really lost in their PhDs, not really sure what they would do afterwards, if they wanted to stay in research even. So I knew a lot of people really needed the same kind of resource. So I sat down and I broke it down step by step exactly what I did, and then it just seemed so simple. So I got a group of my classmates together, and I said, let's meet once a month. We'll have like a discussion group, and we'll talk about each of these steps in career development. We'll help each other. I'll tell you guys exactly what I did. I'm sure you have information, that we can all share together. And that's what we did. So that's how the PhD Career Ladder program formed. And then, towards the end of it, Stony Brook was hosting this TEDx event, and my initial thought was, well, if I give a talk, I can spread the word to the rest of Stony Brook, because right now I'm just working with students who are in my program, in the cell biology program, but there's around 30 graduate programs at Stony Brook, so any one of them could probably use the same sort of program. It would be really simple for them to adopt. And then, as I was preparing for the TED Talk, I realized, like, wow, this could actually be, nationwide. This could apply to any number of universities, any kind of programs. So it really grew from there. And as I was kind of doing the TED Talk is when I realized how many people it could reach.
Oh yeah, I mean, I hear you. I know one of the things for me when I started winding down, because when I started thinking back, okay, I'm on this chapter of my dissertation, graduation is approaching, and the more I started to sort of research what was out there, and I was looking at the university gigs and all this stuff, and I even met a dean at a conference I was presenting at, and when I said, hey, I would love to teach, and I told him about my research and all. He said, oh, I'd be great. He said, well, I can bring you in for $1,800 a class. And now, granted, if a job's a job, and we all got to eat and pay our bills, but what I was thinking was $1,800. Like, really? Like, the last time I checked, that tenure professor who may be making $80,000, and that adjunct you're paying $1,800, $3,000 to, they all get called doctor. And I'm like, I don't know. Dr. Broke don't sound good to me.
Yeah.
So for me, I was fortunate enough, blessed, to find the job, career that I'm loving, very passionate about, and it's not in academia. And even sometimes I say to myself, I'm Dr. Will. I would like to teach at a university every now and then, and then I go, I'm doing that. I'm doing what I would do anyway, because I teach teachers how to use technology in the school district. I said, I'm doing what I would probably do in a classroom anyway. I'm making way more money with benefits. There is no way you're going to get me in academia at this point ever again. Take me to your classmates or even yourself when you realize, okay, academia, and it's unfortunate because we all came from academia in terms of, this is what we're studying. But when the reality hits you of, this is not going to be for me, what are those emotions? I mean, is it fear? I mean, do people talk to you about the fear of I have failed because people are expecting me, either my parents or my friends or my dissertation chair, whatever, they're expecting me to become this college professor and do all this stuff, and I don't want it? Or is there shame or financial pressures? Like, what are people telling you when you have these meetings about what goes into their decision after they say, okay, I'm done?
Yeah, for myself, I know a lot of it was a feeling of failure because, I felt that academia wasn't fitting me, and I thought that that meant because I wasn't good enough for academia. But really, it just means that, I have a different set of skills that are better suited elsewhere. So, there's definitely an element of feeling like you failed and that you're not good enough. And I think, that goes for a lot of other people too, like what you brought up before with my classmate is that, for your advisors who are in academia, to them, academia is like the only option or the best option. So a lot of times when students realize that they want something else, they're afraid to tell their advisor because they're afraid of being looked at, as if you're not good enough and that you're disappointing them, and that you're not going on the better path. And I think that's really unfortunate. And it's also a lot of feeling of confusion because, when you're in academia, you're not really seeing people who have left academia. So you don't have that kind of model there to guide you and someone saying like, okay, here's this path, you can take it. So, that's another reason why I started this program, is because we needed to join together and say, like, this is okay, we can do this. It's not something to be ashamed of. It's not something that we have to kind of push under the rug or hide. This is a real viable option, and it's really rewarding, and it's not something that we have to like be quiet about just because we're students and we're in academia right now. So it's pretty complicated.
So take me through your process of working with doctoral students, because as you know, our lives, we're in a bubble at that point, and our lives focus solely around reading, writing, and research, and no job skills per se. We don't study job skills and stuff. So how do you begin working with people in the program to say, what skills do you have, or what are your passions, what are your interests, to sort of begin them working on a path for a career outside of academia?
So the first thing we did was we took a self-assessment. We used the one that's provided on the My IDP website, which is hosted through Science Careers. And it's kind of like a personality test, and it evaluates your skills and your interests and your values. So that was really the starting point. And it asks about, things that we do every day as graduate students, the research, the writing, and asks you whether you like it, whether you think you're good at it, whether other people have complimented you on it. And that really allows you to see the kind of skills that you have that you may not realize are job skills because they're just part of the graduate work, but they really are job skills, like working together in big collaborative groups. That's really important for any job. Managing meetings and time with your boss and managing different opinions. That's really important, a job skill to have. And all the writing and research, data analysis, all these kind of things are really important for a non-academic job. So doing this kind of skills assessment makes the students realize that they have a number of skills that are important for jobs. And then, then later in the program we talk about what skills are needed for the specific career that they're interested in, and then we talk about how to enhance those skills. So a lot of people just think, getting your PhD is good enough, and that's, I have these skills, that's gonna, get me the job that I want. But it's really important to see the skills that you have, but also the skills that you're lacking, or the skills that you may need to improve on, and thinking about ways that you can do that while you're still in graduate school, whether or not it's just volunteering or joining a club or amping up some of the things that you're already doing to make sure that you can communicate that to a potential employer.
I like that. I like that. So are you and working with the people in your program, are you finding that people are ready for careers because they truly have a passion sort of elsewhere, or is it because they're sort of looking at the academic landscape of universities hiring fewer full-time professors and a boatload of adjuncts? What has been your experience?
I think it's more of the former. I think people are a little more excited about non-academic careers, and because there's so many more options. Yeah, and I think they realize that they can do different things, and it's a change from what we've been doing for so many years. And actually we had maybe 1 or 2 students in our 9-person group that were still interested in staying in academia, and I found that very surprising. So I think that it's the balance is kind of tipping, and that most people, the majority of people, are interested in non-academic careers, just because it fits better with what they want and their lifestyle, and and their values and their skills and all this. I don't think too many students are really aware of the landscape, because like people don't really talk about that openly in academia, and I think the only reason I know about it is because I do a lot of this career development stuff, and I lead it, so I look at these articles, but for the graduate student just going about their research, I don't know if they're really aware of that, because we only think too many, like a few steps ahead. So like in terms of getting a postdoc, we know that that's relatively easy. So then people just kind of assume that the step after that, getting a professorship will be easy. And I've read a lot of articles that say just that. The students, they go on to do a postdoc and then they're ready to get a job, and they're so excited, but then it takes them years and years and years, and they're still searching to try to become a professor. So I think there's a huge disconnect there in what graduate students want and what it actually is. But like I said, I think that the scales are tipping and that more students are looking towards non-academic careers. So I think it's a good move.
Excellent, excellent. So with the work you're doing, how has it been received, either by your department or by your university?
Yeah, it's a good question. So I was really lucky in that my program director was really open to this, and he was supportive from day one. And when I came to him with the idea, he said, "That's great. I've been trying to think of some ways to add some career development to the program." So I think I was really lucky in that. And I know a number of other graduate programs that we kind of share resources with also are interested in adopting the program. So I think surrounding my immediate kind of circle, it's been well received, and since the TED Talk, and a number of students at least are interested. At the university level, I think it's still going to be kind of tough to convince the higher administrators that this is important, and that they should spend resources on it. But I think that's the value of the career ladder program, is that it can be a student-led approach, is that you don't really need too much money or funding or anything like that to get it started. So that's my hope, is that the students grab onto it, and they can bring it to their universities, and when the administration comes around to it, then that would help.
So you just mentioned it, and how does one bring the career ladder program to their university? What is the process? Do they contact you? Is there an application they need to fill out to become a member or whatever? How does that work out?
It's really simple. I created a website. It's phdladder.wix.com/PhD ladder. And I just put all of the steps that we did in my group here at Stony Brook, and all the resources that I used. I put all the links to all the different articles. So if you just go to the website, everything's there, and then you basically just do what I did. So just grab a bunch of friends, set a meeting time. You can meet however often you want. We did once monthly, and we just did one step at a time. We got together and we talked about first we did the self-assessment, and then we talked about career matches. So you just do a little bit at a time, and you just kind of work through it together. And I think if you want to add another element to it, you can get your career services involved and see if they might want to help guide the meetings, or come in for a few meetings and help you along with it. But I mean, it's pretty simple. It's just like a student-run support group is what we called it. So we just get together and we talk about one thing at a time. And most of the resources that I got are all online. So you don't have to call in the professionals, but if you want to, that's an option.
Cool. Now, before we get out of here, what parting shots, if you will, do you have for those who maybe they've been in the doctoral program, they're about to end, or they're getting ready to start? What advice do you have for them to sort of begin the process of thinking, what do I do post graduation?
You just have to do a lot of research, which is the same as you're doing in your graduate studies. You have to use the same sort of skills. And I want everyone to know that it's a journey. It's not like a one-time thing that you do. You do your career development and then you figure out what you want to do, and that's it. It's a constantly changing process. It's dynamic, and I don't think anyone's ever really done with their career development, so you have to think about it like that. And my motto is the earlier the better. So even if you're a first year student, you're just starting your PhD, I would give some thought to it, what you want to do after, and kind of try to make sure that every move you make is going to put you in that direction. And I think it can be overwhelming, but don't underestimate the resources that you have available to you. Don't underestimate your classmates. A lot of them are probably feeling the same way, and it really helps to get together and talk about it. And the other thing is, also don't underestimate kind of your acquaintances that aren't maybe in graduate school. You might not think that they can understand what you're going through, or they can't really help you, but kind of everyone is a networking contact. So I think you'd be surprised if you reach out to your family or your neighbors and you let them know your kind of career path that you're thinking about. There's a huge wealth of information people have, and they're always willing to help. So you can look everywhere, and you'll definitely find some information. And you'll definitely get where you want to go. And once you figure it out, it's really rewarding. It's really nice to know that you're going to get somewhere that you want, and it's going to be fulfilling, and you can be happy.
No doubt, no doubt. Again, thank you for being a fantastic guest, Nadia. I appreciate you coming on the show today.
Thank you.
So take care. Yeah, I'm stay on after I stop the show because there's some information I need to get from you. But everyone, keep checking out the Dr. Will Show. I'll see you next time.